Thank you, Chairman. Director, I guess this is our first meeting. I hear you're from Georgia, my home state. Regarding the raid on Mar-a-Lago last summer, the Justice Department filed an application for a search and seizure warrant of Mar-a-Lago citing probable cause that additional presidential records and records containing classified information remained in various parts of the residence. The FBI executed this search and raided Mar-a-Lago and has been investigating President Trump for alleged improper handling of classified information and presidential records ever since. Director Ray, are you familiar with the Presidential Records Act?
I mean, only in the most general sense. I'm not a subject matter expert, nor am I currently practicing as a lawyer.
Only in the most general of sense. Okay, the Presidential Records Act, 44 U.S.C. 2201, is the controlling statute for presidential records. And I have a copy of it right here if you'd like to see it. Was the Presidential Records Act referenced in the request for a warrant?
I would just refer you to the warrant.
I'm asking you a question.
Yeah, I don't have the warrant in front of me, so I can't, sitting here right now, tell you exactly which statutes were referenced in the warrant from August.
I mean, this is one of the most historic raids and warrants ever done in this country. Never, ever done before, and you don't know what the warrant says.
I didn't say I didn't know what the warrant says. I don't have the specific details in front of me of exactly which statutory code references are in the warrant.
Okay. Are there any criminal penalties attached to the Presidential Records Act?
Well, again, I think that's a legal question, but my general recollection is not directly, but I'm not certain of
You're
that.
correct. There are no criminal penalties attached to the Presidential Records Act. Under the Presidential Records Act, the president is allowed to have all his records from his time as president. Is that correct?
Well, again, now you're asking me for a legal opinion about the scope of the Presidential Records Act, and I would refer you to the special counsel conducting the investigation on that.
All
or the
right.
Justice
According to
Department.
statute, presidential records are defined as any document created or received by the president or his staff, for your information. It does not exclude classified documents either. And that's right from the U.S. Code, right here. So President Trump had complete authority to unilaterally declassify documents, correct?
Again, now you're asking me for a legal question, and you're asking me for a legal question in relation to an ongoing investigation being led by special counsel. So I certainly understand why you're asking the question. I respect that, but it's not something that I can answer
Okay. Well,
appropriately.
it's my understanding the president has that authority, the vice president and a senator does not. Is that correct?
Same answer.
All right. According to the Presidential Records Act, personal records are excluded from the Act's preservation requirements. Are you familiar with the 2001 sock drawer case in which a plaintiff petitioned the court to consider whether tapes found located in President Clinton's sock drawer, many containing conversations with foreign leaders and therefore born classified, were to be considered personal records or official records? Are you familiar with that case at all? I mean, you've been in the Department of Justice for a very long time.
I can't recall a case involving a sock drawer. I know there was a case involving the former National Security Advisor who had served in the Clinton administration involving some classified documents, but I'm not sure if that's what you're referring to.
This is dealing with President Clinton himself.
Yeah, that, at least sitting here right now, I don't immediately recognize it. Maybe if I saw something, it would come back to me.
Okay. Judge Amy Jackson's opinion in that case, citing 44 U.S.C. 2203 Bravo, Judge Jackson ruled that in the court's view, under the statutory scheme established by the Presidential Records Act, the decision to segregate personal materials from presidential records is made by the president during the president's term and in his sole discretion. Considering Judge Jackson's ruling, why do you believe the White House counsel, Jonathan Sue, with President Biden's approval, waived President Trump's executive privilege when, according to the Presidential Records Act, only President Trump had the authority to determine presidential versus personal records?
So respectfully, there's a couple things that go to your question. One is, again, you're asking for a legal opinion, and I'm very careful as FBI director to stay in my lane, and the legal questions should be referred to the Justice Department. But second, it sounds like in this particular instance, you're asking me about what somebody else was thinking when they did or didn't waive the privilege, and I can't speak for them.
All right. What did it cost for the FBI to pursue this case and execute this raid?
I don't have a cost figure for you.
Can you provide that for me?
I can see if there's information we can provide you. I'll certainly
Okay.
have my staff follow up with you.
I would
don't know if
appreciate
there's
that.
information we can provide, but I'll look into it.
All right, thank you, and I yield back.